And they beat Barcelona. They knocked them out, and they were eventually beaten by Milan in the semi-final. But Weah was top scorer at that tournament with 8 goals.
Yeah.
And that was the start of when he was going to become a global superstar, really. And he signed for Milan in '95 and was crowned World Player of the Year the same year, FIFA World Player of the Year, and is the only African to have won that award. Therefore, some people say he's the greatest African footballer of all time because of that.
Samuel Eto'o's finished second, I think.
That's right. I think he has.
Weah is undoubtedly up there with the greatest African players of all time.
He's one of the greatest players of our generation.
Oh, absolutely.
Or the generation slightly before us. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you say, Marcus, like you said at the top of the profile, he had it all, you know. And
well, some say he was one of those ones who was like a precursor to the strikers now who can do everything, you know. They're not just a poacher anymore. He kind of works the channels. He works the whole back four. But there's not he can create. He can come deep. He can be a poacher. He can do all that.
I think you're right. And there's not an awful big place for just your sort of standard poacher in world football anymore. You obviously got a couple of the sort of dying exponents of that, like your Pippo Inzaghi's and your Michael Owens every so often. But these days, they've got to be much more complete. And your most successful strikers are more than just that, you know.
And
George Weah definitely was that. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. He won the Italian League, or Serie A, as it's called, in '96 and '99, and in 114 appearances he scored 46 goals, and of course a memorable one against Verona, which we said the other week, I think, when he took
it was a Joby McAnuff. One time. It was a Joby McAnuff, Marcus.
It was one of he scored. Weah actually scored.
Yeah, it was a bit better than Joby McAnuff. He almost lost control on the sort of centre circle, got it back again.
That's right.
But he did that quite a lot, didn't he? Where the sort of telling bit where he got around the last sort of defender, he put it one side of him and ran round the other side.
That's right. Yeah.
But he used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he was so quick and powerful. He could be.
So quick.
A little bit of controversy when he got into a little bit of scrap with Georgie Costa of FC Porto when he broke his nose, but apparently Georgie Costa was saying nasty, racist things, so, you know.
He still won. He still won the FIFA Fair Play Award that year.
Because of that.
Even though he broke someone's
Fair
nose.
play, Gov, fair play.
Yeah. That's fair game. But yeah, he left Milan in January in 2000 and joined Chelsea.
Yeah.
And
I've got a little joke about his time at Chelsea. Do you want to hear it?
Tell us.
I'll tell you it, right? So George Weah is in the tunnel at Stamford Bridge playing for Chelsea against Manchester United.
Okay.
Back in the year 2000. And while he's in the tunnel, David Beckham comes up to him and goes, like, puts his finger over his mouth and goes, to George Weah. And everyone's looking around, a bit confusing. So they go out and start playing, the game kicks off, and George Weah is in on goal, but he puts it wide.
Oh.
And he's a bit disappointed. But again, David Beckham runs up to him and puts his finger over his lips and goes, yeah. Everyone's thinking it's a bit odd. Yeah. Anyway, so another 10 minutes goes past, George Weah gets booked.
Right, yeah.
And as he's getting the yellow card, Beckham comes up to me and goes, So every time George Weah does something wrong, David Beckham does that. So Roy Keane pulls David Beckham to one side and goes, David, so what are you doing? Why do you keep doing that? And David Beckham whispers something in his ear, and Roy Keane goes, no, David, he's a Liberian.
Good.
You like that?
Nice.
Guaranteed the listeners will. So move on.
Well, thank you for that, Luke.
Thank you.
He won the FA Cup with Chelsea in the year 2000. And there was plenty of magic going on there. And he said he'd never played in a tournament like it.
What is this cup game you speak? This cup competition you speak
Knockout?
Yeah.
What?
What? So if we
lose,
we're out?
No. Magic.
And then he moved to Manchester City. He wasn't there very long. And then he was at Marseille and wasn't there very long. And then he went to the Middle East for Al Jazeera, not the media outlet, the team, and retired in August 2003. Never played at a World Cup.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Bit of a Georgie Best.
Bit of a Georgie
Ryan
Best.
Giggs.
Bit of a Nuge.
He did play an African Cup of Nations in '96. Liberia went out in the first round. But since retiring, he often pays out of his own pocket for the national team to travel to matches abroad because they're so cash-strapped.
I've read that he could easily be the Liberian sort of Prime Minister.
Well,
he's that popular.
He is. But I mean, let me just say that he was voted African Player of the Century by sports journalists from around the world.
That's amazing. They've had a few.
Who was voted South American Player of the Century?
Pele.
Edmundo.
Okay.
No, it was Pele. European player of the century.
Zidane.
No.
Cruyff?
Yes.
Oh, good answer, James. Yes.
And
Can I have some points for
and
that?
you can.
Yeah, so he's an esteemed company then.
Yeah. What with James? And he does loads of charity work now. Lots of stuff for his own sort of war-ravaged country and all sorts of things. And as you say, Luke, in 2005 he ran for presidency in Liberia, much because the people wanted him to. But he didn't get it, unfortunately.
Not that many people wanted them to, then.
Well, I say, that's right. I say, unfortunately, I don't know anything about Liberian politics. I don't know whether they're big or not.
I've not even seen his manifesto.
Don't dip your toe in.
Yeah, stay away.
Maybe
stay
the
away.
taxes would have gone on getting the national team abroad. Who knows? It could have been awful.
Who knows? I shall end with a quote from the great Arsene Wenger, who was his first coach when he moved to Europe. He said, "Weah was a real surprise. For me, it was like a child discovering a chocolate bunny in his garden at Easter. I have never seen any player explode onto the scene like he did." Well, there he is, exploding into the Windass Hall of Fame.
Covering everyone in chocolate.